Well, you may be wondering where we are at the moment. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, I just want to apologize. I act really weird in this video. I think it's because of, like, heat. I think I was just too warm and something was getting to my head. So yes, apologies. I'm going to start off by answering a couple of your questions. Emily, why are your bangs a little bit wet? It's because my AC does not work. And it's 85 degrees. In this box, within this little rectangle, it's 85 degrees. Fahrenheit. Not Celsius, thank God. Way too hot. Remember when I said that nitro runs through my veins? This is the cinnamon almond cold foam nitro cold brew. I have extra cold foam, so it's a tall size worth of coffee plus extra of the almond foam because that's literally so good. Okay, so you may be wondering where we are on this fine day. This beautiful day, actually. It's quite lovely outside, but I can't show you outside. And this is why. I live here now. Yep. Welcome to my home. Welcome to my new home. The place where I will be living, breathing, bathing, sleeping. So I don't want to show you directly outside my window because I don't want you to find me. I've been talking about it on my channel for a few videos where I've kind of like said I was moving in with some friends. This is my apartment. It's incredibly messy right now and I will talk about it in a later video. But today, I'm doing a highly requested video talking about how I found a rental in this godforsaken city. I live in Toronto, for those of you who are wondering. I go to school here, and it's hard to find a place to live that's affordable. However, I'm not paying nearly as much as I would be paying for this place pre-COVID, which has been a really big help to finding an apartment that was affordable for us. Was that coronavirus really did bring rent prices down drastically, and I'll talk about that later on in the video. But as much as coronavirus sucks and as much as I wish that I could do something to take it away, it has brought some pretty decent rent pricing, and hopefully it'll kind of tumble into some long-term change. So I want to talk about the reasons. First and foremost, I want to talk about the reasons that I did decide to move. It's so hot. Like, it's so freaking hot. My car is also not in the best condition. She's really a piece of work right now and probably will not make it much longer. It costs too much to fix all the, like, potentially dangerous issues. And I'm not super comfortable with taking transit right now if I don't have to. So it would mean that when school starts back up again, I would have to commute by car for my labs, and that was kind of not something I wanted to do either because I would have to buy a new car, which is like 10 to who knows how much, like let's say $10,000 to $12,000 for a decent car that's gonna get me to my next stage in life. On top of that, I have to pay a $400 parking pass every semester. I think they may have raised the prices, in fact. And then on top of that, I have to pay for gas. And at the beginning of COVID, gas was super affordable, but as things start to reopen, it's getting pretty expensive again. And it just kind of, and then on top of that, there's insurance. I forgot about insurance. So, like, it just really didn't make sense for me right now to invest in a car, especially given that in the future, I don't really see myself living anywhere where I would need a car, and putting that much money into something that isn't really going to be around for longer than 2 years just doesn't make sense to me. I also wanted to be closer to my friends. A lot of my friends live downtown, and part of seeing them, like, part of me wanting to see them means that I would have to take transit or my car, and parking is crazy and same issues as before. Whereas where I live now, we all live, like, pretty much on the same block, and there's tons of parks and patios that we're able to hang out at socially distanced. And on top of that, I'm living with two of my really close friends. So already there, I'm kind of getting the social interaction that I've been missing for so freaking long. Okay, so let's move on from the topic of why I'm moving, and let's get into what I was looking for and what me and I'm going to say I, but like it was me and my roommates just because for the sake of the video, it's you and I, so. What we were looking for was a 3-bedroom unit, something ideally that was 3 full bedrooms or a 3+ den. We also wanted something that was really, really close. One of my roommates and I go to one school, and my other roommate goes to a different school that's a little bit further. So we wanted something that we could all kind of walk to or could bike to or something. Thankfully for me, we live pretty much like on my campus. My roommate is gonna have to bike or walk, but it's still within 15 minutes, so it's super, super close. And honestly, we're in a really good location for students, especially because there's so much kind of like here. We also wanted something that was walking distance to our like necessities, so we have a grocery store like right down the road, we have a hospital right down the road, we have campus right down the road, and then we also have a public library, etc., when things start to open up. So we really wanted something that was close to where we typically hang out and typically need to go. Luxuries that I think this was more me who wanted these things, but things that like I kind of would have loved to have in a unit was either something full of character, like super cute, like New York City vibes, or something in a high rise. As you can see, we got a high rise. Ideally, we wanted a gym. We really, really, really wanted a gym because we have some on campus, but they're typically pretty packed. So something that has a place where we can go was something that we wanted. And we wanted something that was on a transit line, whether it be the subway or the streetcar. That was something that we were really looking for as well, because, you know, the main way that we get around is through transit, if we have to go further out from our little kind of corner of town. So thankfully we're on a line, but we're also like in an area where we don't even need to use transit at all. Welcome to the city. We wanted something that we hoped to get was something with utilities included and with security on site. Another thing that was a plus, if we could get it, was in-unit laundry. That was pretty much a big deal because we kind of counted it out and it would have been like really expensive for us to be going off-site to do laundry. So there's that. And also, like, I don't know, something about carrying a bag with my underwear really just does not vibe with me. Anyways, we ended up looking at 2 places because it was, when we were first looking, it was like super early in the pandemic. Only I was able to go with my parents to take a look, but I obviously sent videos and I actually have them still, so I can kind of show you. I'm gonna give them like cute little names like they do on House Hunters. So the first one that we went to, I'm gonna call it the Fever Dream. So on the site, it didn't look great, but it had really pretty hardwood floorings and a bay window, which was like so much character that it like made me feel some type of way and I had to see it. So there was that one that we saw. It was pretty far from school. It was on like one of the main streets in Toronto. It was on Queen Street in Toronto, but so we had like really close access to the streetcar, but at the time like it was pretty dodgy to get on any sort of transit because of how early in the pandemic it was. And it was still like 15 minutes by streetcar, and by walk it was about 45 minutes. So it's not terrible, but it's definitely a little bit longer than we had wanted. And that was kind of both ways to our, like the 2 different schools. Utilities were included, so that was really cool, but there weren't any amenities. There was nothing in the building. Like it was just kind of like a townhouse that they had split up into 4 different units, so there wasn't like a pool or a gym or really anything other than like a terrace, which was kind of nice, but like also you didn't have much of a view of anything and it kind of smelled a little funky. The unit itself smelled like cat pee, and then outside it smelled like, I don't even know, but like dumpster almost. So that was not very nice. And in real life, when we went to go see it, it was a lot tighter than the pictures looked. They didn't actually have a floor plan or square footage of the unit, so that was really hard to kind of gauge like really how much we were paying for our dollar. And it also just felt really small and claustrophobic. Like I don't actually know how big it was, but just the way that it was laid out and painted and just everything kind of made it really feel small, and it was super, super dated. So we had to do a lot of work to live there. We would have had to paint it and like fix up the cabinets and everything. Like overall, it probably would not have been worth it. But one of the big positives was that it was below $2,200. So between the 3 of us, it would have come out to a pretty decent price, which was kind of nice. But at the same time, the room sizing was so different that one of us would have been paying significantly more than the other 2. And it kind of felt a little bit unfair in that sense, where not everybody has like equal living space in like some capacity. So we did actually end up applying for it just in case, but that, I'm kind of glad we didn't get it because they were super bad at communicating. The company that was managing the lease was just kind of dodgy and never actually got back to us, even though we like gave them all of our personal information. So that was kind of weird. Somebody out there kind of has all my information, which kind of sucks, but whatever. The second one is the I have my shit together apartment. And I only saw 2, so you can assume which one it is. I'm not posting the videos from the tour of this apartment just because that's the one that I ended up moving into, and there's going to be videos about it later on, like in a couple weeks, so it just didn't feel right to kind of spoil all that. So on paper, this unit was incredibly expensive. We would never have been able to afford it, but I loved this building. I literally watched it get built when I lived in residence. Like, that's how close it is to my campus. And like, I always would look at like this building and the neighboring building and be like, what if one day I lived in there? So naturally, when we started looking, I was like, let me look into this place. So this is a full 3-bedroom. One of them actually doesn't have a window, which is kind of funny. It has like a glass door to like compensate for it, but it is a full 3-bedroom. All 3 of the rooms have closets. All 3 of the rooms are somewhat private, so that's cool. The 3rd bedroom is definitely quirky. It's like an L-shaped and there is technically a window, so there's a glass door and then there's like a glass like panel in the wall. So I obviously don't have that room, but my roommate is coming up with some creative ideas to like make that space work, which is kind of cool to see. It is relatively small. It's only 758 square feet, so it's teeny tiny, but like also not. Like, it feels, when this unit was empty, it felt so small, but the minute I brought the couch in, it felt so much more like big and like homey, I find. That's my personal opinion, but some other people might have different ones. Even my room like felt really tiny, and then I brought my bed in, my dresser in, and my desk in, and it felt pretty good, to be honest, in my opinion. The unit itself has a balcony. It has a washer and dryer. It has a dishwasher, which is incredible. Did I say it has a balcony? Yes, I did. It has a balcony, and there is a pool, a gym, and a rooftop pool, a gym, and a terrace. A couple terraces, I think we have. They're all closed right now because of COVID, but they should be opening within the next month or so. And it feels like a very adult place to live. Like, even though my AC does not work, it's pretty snazzy. Like, I have huge floor to ceiling windows like right here, and I don't know, like, it's just like a very cool place to live, I find. It was more on the expensive side. It was listed at $3,100 a month, which was not something that we could afford at all. But we managed to talk it down to $2,700. We divided the rent by square footage per room, and then divided the square footage of the common area by like person kind of thing. And we have to pay utilities. That's the one downside, is that we do have to pay utilities, but there are a couple government incentives for students that can help lower your utilities, so that's kind of fun. Clearly we went with the I have my shit together apartment because that's where I am right now, and I'm actually really happy with it, other than the not working AC. I haven't actually been able to spend very much time here because I still work near my grandparents' house, but also because the AC doesn't work, so it's like way too hot in a heat wave to stay here overnight. But it's a really good place to live. The people in the building are really nice. Everybody that I've spoken to has been really, really kind, and it just feels like a very cool place to live, and I'm really excited to start my adventure here. It's really, really exciting, and I'm really excited to like eventually be able to have people over and just like really take advantage of the space. So yeah, I hope this was a cool video for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more apartment stuff, subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a ton of videos on how I decorated my room, like with a student budget and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's gonna be a great time, and I'm really excited for everything that's to come. So yes, I hope to see you guys in my next video. So long.